Hey guys, Mapletail here. Today is my review of the latest book in the Warrior Cat series, Shadow. So spoiler warning for the entire book. Before I get into it, I want to give a special shout out to Stitches111v1x on Instagram, who drew the thumbnail for today's video. They did such an incredible job, and they were so kind to offer to draw it for me. So thank you. I'll leave a link to their page in the description below if you want to check out their work. On to Shadow. As usual, this isn't a formal review, just my thoughts chapter by chapter. I've already read and talked about up to chapter 3 from the preview, so today we're jumping right into chapter 4. And it's a Frostpaw POV. She has a really nice moment with her litter mates Greypaw and Mistpaw. They even get Frostpaw to try a battle move with them and praise her, even though she's not quite able to get it right. I just love some wholesome sibling time. Frostpaw then gets a chance to speak with Shadowsight when he visits her, and she realizes the opportunity that it is. Frostpaw is convinced that the visions she sees aren't sent by StarClan, and Shadowsight dealt with a similar situation in the Broken Code, so she confides in him. I was super happy about that, as she finds comfort in his words of not being able to speak with StarClan. Icewing gets her talk with Frostpaw, and unfortunately we don't really learn what Icewing wanted to speak about. Unless it was just about how she was doing and to tell her how proud she was. As Frostpaw ended up blurting out that she thinks she doesn't really have a connection to StarClan. As glad as I was to have less secrecy, I was really curious to hear all of what Icewing had wanted to say, as it seemed like it was more than that. Icewing confronts Mothwing about making Frostpaw keep things a secret, and everyone decides to sleep on what to do next. Honestly, I'm not even sure what the right move is here. I don't believe Frostpaw is imagining her visions. I think she just has a more unique connection like that of Shadowsight before the whole Ashfur debacle. The next morning, Icewing tells Tigerstar and the whole of Riverclan the truth. I was annoyed at Tigerstar saying the lies had to stop, or else he'd never be able to trust Riverclan to run their own clan. Like, yes, I agree about all the lying. Not great. But the audacity here? And saying that Frostpaw had to become a warrior now? His own son doesn't even have a connection to StarClan anymore, and accidentally caused way more damage than Frostpaw ever has. But he got to remain Medicine Cat. She's still a great healer. There's a lot more to being a Medicine Cat than StarClan. If she's going to become a warrior, it should be entirely on her own accord. And to finish off all this terribleness, he says everyone will now temporarily be ShadowClan cats. I'm pretty furious. He has no right. All the clans should be pitching in to help Riverclan, not whatever this is. I'm just glad that Frostpaw is happy. Someone might as well be, and she very much deserves a break. On to chapter 5, with Sunbeam. I'm kind of sad with how ShadowClan this book is so far. We've got Sunbeam there, and now Nightheart, and basically Frostpaw too, as Tigerstar said. We finally get our new Riverclan protagonist, only for Riverclan to lose their identity for who knows how long. Anyways, Sunbeam. I was not ready for the dumbest choice Tigerstar has made so far. Putting outsider-hating Buried Heart of all cats in charge of the tasks for cats who want to change clans. What? I'm sure she will be super fair and unbiased here. She even decided that Fringe Whisker would have to complete more tasks even though she's already been a full ShadowClan cat since like the first book in this arc. What the hell? Fringe Whisker's first task is a horribly unfair obstacle course that ended with her nearly being bit by a snake. Even some of the ShadowClan cats agree that it was totally unfair. Impressively though, she prevailed anyways. Tigerstar needs to get back here and fix things. Sure, he's trying to help Riverclan, but his own clanmates are being put in danger with Buried Heart running things while he's gone. Also, Sunbeam thinks she may be developing feelings for Nightheart. Great. Chapter 6, Speak of the Devil. It's Nightheart time. As frustrating as I find him currently, I do feel for him when Buried Heart tasks him with catching enough frogs to feed the entire clan in only one day. A prey he's never caught. After some failed attempts, Nightheart patiently watches the frogs and learns about their behavior. With that information, he sets a trap, a burrow with some prey to attract flies and frogs. It's actually pretty clever. And I thought the image of Nightheart showing his burrow full of frogs to Tigerstar and Berryheart was pretty hilarious to picture. Chapter 7 is back with Frostpaw. Tigerstar wants to hold the ceremony to make her a warrior apprentice, which I am only okay with, as it seems to be what she wants to. I definitely cringed at her thinking about her and Splashtail becoming mates. That bothers me even more than the Nightheart Sunbeam thing, for different reasons. I find it interesting that Splashtail seems to want her to stay a medicine cat so badly. I wonder exactly what his motivation is there. Especially when Frostpaw starts thinking about how much Curlfeather believed in her visions and pushed her onto that path too. Brings back my suspicions of some cats in Riverclan perhaps knowing more than they are saying about all the mysterious things that have happened this arc. I was happy that Hairlight was chosen as Frostpaw's mentor. I like the guy. I also would have been pleased if it were Owlnose though, as he volunteered. Of course, Duskfur takes issue with it, as Hairlight was one of the temporarily exiled cats. She needs to relax about all that. I'm so glad that Hairlight stood up for himself there, and his faith in Frostpaw proving everyone wrong and becoming the strongest warrior of them all was really sweet. In a training session, it sounds like things are going well. Until Duskfur and Splashtail start criticizing Frostpaw while sulking in the shadows. Something is definitely going on with those two. I do not trust them. And I'm starting to really get the feeling again that Curlfeather was involved with this mysterious plotting too. Her last words of trust no cat are heavily on my mind. This is more than them just being difficult. They seem to need Frostpaw as a medicine cat for some purpose, and I don't like it. I was happy to hear Miss Paw excited about Frostpaw being a warrior like herself, until she brings up the fact that if Frostpaw's visions were never real, then Curlfeather was never meant to be a leader, and didn't have to have died. Why the hell would you say that to your heavily traumatized sister? She obviously already feels hugely guilty about that. And it wasn't even her fault in the slightest. It was just a terrible, terrible accident. Assuming at least that the curled feathers weren't planted by a cat like Duskfur or Splashtail to make Curlfeather leader for some reason. Or the fact that someone could have lured the dogs there to kill her. Because I'd happily blame any of that instead of horrible luck. Overall, I'm just very worried for our dear Frostpaw. Chapter 8, Sunbeam, who is heading to Riverclan with Lightleap. Guess we didn't go very far. Lightleap makes a dumb decision that they should hunt on Riverclan territory on the way, which is just disrespectful, along with being a terrible idea. And of course they run into a patrol led by Duskfur. As much as I hate her, I am not on her side with this one. It just feels like a bad decision when things are so tense. At least Icewing was able to calm things down. I don't know why she just doesn't go to the moon pool and try her luck at becoming Riverclan's leader. I think she'd do a great job from what we've seen. It was nice to hear some more of all the effects of ShadowClan's presence in Riverclan. Sunbeam even thinks that they may just be making things worse, and I don't disagree. She talks a bit about Nightheart, and I'm glad to hear she has doubts about their relationship, or lack thereof. Speaking of Nightheart, Chapter 9 is one of his POVs. Berryheart harasses Nightheart for a while about Sunbeam, and he's surprisingly mature about it. Then Dovewing takes him to ThunderClan to get closure. I'm sure that'll go well. I like the two of them getting to speak for a bit though, as they chose similar paths in life. One of them may be a bit more thought out than the other. It was a little strange to see the patrol they ran into be so hostile and confused at seeing Nightheart, but so welcoming to Dovewing, who also left ThunderClan. I guess time makes a difference. I was glad that Lilyheart and Bayshine took his coming to apologize well, as I can't even talk about Nightheart's conversation with his mother. Just feeling all kinds of terrible with that. He speaks to Bramblestar too, and takes it way too personally how out of it Bramblestar seems. This cat just really needs to step down as leader. It's clearly been too much for him since the last arc. Chapter 10, back to Frostpaw. I am so happy that Frostpaw is finding genuine joy in her warrior training. I just want the best for this little guy, after all she's been through. Whatever that means. Okay, whatever except what she does next. Frostpaw confessed to Splashtail pretty much out of nowhere. He tells her that he likes her too, but rejects her nonetheless, saying that he still sees her as a medicine cat and that it wouldn't be right for him being mates with an apprentice. I can certainly agree on the last part. She's way too young to be worrying about that sort of thing. And Splashtail just gives me all the bad feelings, so this is definitely for the best. I'm really not a fan of our female protagonist this arc wanting to jump into relationships before even becoming warriors, with Sunbeam loving Blazefire from kithood and now this. Just let yourselves be kids. Chapter 11, Sunbeam. Fringe Whisker passes her final task, becoming a full warrior of ShadowClan. Again. And more Nightheart and Sunbeam. The part that really got me was Sunbeam feeling bad that Nightheart made this big sacrifice for her. He didn't sacrifice anything. Sunbeam was a convenient method of leaving ThunderClan, and that's that. I cannot help but feel this relationship has just been dropped on Sunbeam out of nowhere, and that she really hasn't had much agency in it. Is this really what she wants? Or is he just a rebound from Blazefire? More importantly, Berrynose and her terrible little squad sneak off in the middle of the night, surely to spew hate and cause trouble. Chapter 12 is a Nightheart POV. Him and Sunbeam follow Berryheart's group to the Green Life 2-Leg place, where Nightheart picks up the scent of many dogs. I can't help but recall Curlfeather's death. But I don't see a motivation for Berryheart wanting to mess with Riverclan's leadership when all she seems to care about is ShadowClan, and wants Tigerstar to stay out of Riverclan's business, which is only happening because of the tragic string of deaths. And, oh my god, Splashtail, Duskfur, and Mapletail join the ShadowClan Cats meeting. I knew those two were sketchy and up to something. Berryheart pushes for a Riverclan medicine cat to be found, and Splashtail says he thinks StarClan will choose one very soon, and if not, he's sure he can help them along. And it only gets creepier. Berryheart says who it is will be important. That someone suggestible would be helpful for both clans. And Splashheart continues that he has someone in mind that is very suggestible, and that he has ways of making her even more so. That is beyond creepy and super sketchy. I'm pretty confident he's talking about Frostpaw, and that he plans to use her feelings for him to manipulate her, and I hate it so much. It is validating to hear that my mistrust of him was well placed. At least Mapletail sounded just as uncomfortable as me throughout this whole conversation, to which Splashtail shuts him down. Yikes. I get that Splashtail and Berryheart want Tigerstar out of Riverclan, but what the hell? This is not the way to go about anything. It does make me pretty sure that none of these cats had anything to do with the mysterious deaths, though. Unless everything just backfired spectacularly on them. Less confident with the Riverclan cats, as they couldn't have known that ShadowClan would take over. So maybe this is just a bad case of backfire. Hopefully we'll find out more later this book. Unfortunately, both Sunbeam and Nightheart have reasons not to share what they've learned. So it sounds like more secrets for now. Chapter 13 is back with Frostpaw. Mistpaw and Greypaw are being really supportive of her, which is great to see, and they're all excited at the idea of becoming warriors together. I can't wait to find out their names. Eventually. Splashtail, on the other hand, well, he pretty clearly hurts himself on purpose to force Frostpaw to take a look. And Mistpaw and Greypaw's support disintegrates just like that, saying they wish Frostpaw was still a medicine cat too, so Curlfeather wouldn't have been wrong. Frostpaw ends up fishing with Splashtail, and he's nothing but rude to her. And then he has the audacity to say that maybe they could actually be mates one day. Poor Frostpaw. She literally deserves the world, not this manipulative jerk. He goes on and on about her being a medicine cat, and it's very clearly up to no good. but I worry that Frostpaw is too blinded by her feelings to see it. It was one line that got me especially worried, though. Splashtail saying that maybe there's still time for StarClan to give her a real sign. So he's probably going to pull a Hawkfrost and fake a sign to force her back into a life that was making her miserable. Great. Chapter 14 returns with Sunbeam, who plans to speak with her mother about what she overheard. Big mistake, I'm sure. Berryheart is full of the kind of hate that cannot be reasoned with. And Sunbeam is unsurprisingly unable to get anywhere with her mother. Chapter 15, Nightheart. I thought it was a little weird that when Sunbeam was really upset, Nightheart was just thinking about how pretty she was. Like, okay. Anyways, Berryheart picks another outrageously dangerous task for Nightheart this time. Most of ShadowClan agrees it's too dangerous, but he decides to go through with it anyways. It nearly went as bad as it could have, but Nightheart succeeded and was left with an ominous warning from Berryheart that she still had another chance to keep him out of ShadowClan. Chapter 16 is back with Riverclan. And Frostpaw experiences something that I certainly wasn't expecting, and definitely not something Splashtail could have faked. She sees the territory through another cat's eyes. A cat's eyes who see Reed Whisker. The cat attacks Reed Whisker, and Reed Whisker not only recognizes the cat, but is fighting like it's someone he doesn't want to hurt. A Riverclan cat, certainly. The fighting edges closer and closer to the edge of the ravine, before Reed Whisker tumbles to his death. Like I and probably most of the fandom suspected, Reed Whisker's death was no accident. He was murdered. A ghostly Reed Whisker then speaks to Frostpaw, telling her of a darkness in Riverclan, closer than she thinks. I mean, obviously. Frostpaw puts things together quickly, realizing that Curlfeather's death may have also been no accident. She recalls her mother's words of trust no cat, and I loved the line of, had she been so worried about a new leader for Riverclan that she failed to notice a murderer among her clanmates? Chilling. I'm so here for it. Well, this is all no big surprise to me. I actually am pretty shocked that Frostpaw actually does have visions. After all that. I was pleased she went to Mothwing for help, but she didn't even end up telling her what she'd seen. I understand she can't trust anyone, but surely Mothwing is as safe a cat as any to confide in? It's hard to be too frustrated though, as I'm just so excited to be learning more about the Riverclan deaths. Chapter 17 is sadly back with Sunbeam. I just want to stay in Riverclan. And it's another gathering, aka more petty arguments. Some cats bring up the fact that even StarClan wants Tigerstar out of Riverclan, which is kind of hard to argue against. Tigerstar does anyway, though. And oh boy, is there an exceptional amount of arguing. Nothing piqued my interest until Bramblestar and Squirrelflight got into it. And Bramblestar says that maybe she should take over leading ThunderClan. Hello, yes, please. Nightheart, on the other hand, is horrified about the idea. Just say you hate Squirrelflight and go. Nothing comes of it. Yet. But I am sensing a real possibility of Squirrelstar this arc. Perhaps even this book. Chapter 18 has Nightheart chasing after his sister departing the gathering. Nightheart fears Squirrelflight becoming leader and causing a battle to rid Riverclan of ShadowClan's influence. He says he can't imagine fighting against ThunderClan. My dude, Nightheart. This was not only a possibility when you left, it was practically a guarantee. The clans fight, often at that. What do you mean you can't possibly imagine it? And Nightheart saying that everyone should respect Bramblestar? I don't think so. Anyways, the next day, Nightheart goes as far as to sneak off to ThunderClan to, what, convince a leader to keep leading his clan when he pretty clearly no longer cares enough to? His hero worship of Bramblestar just annoys me. Especially considering that he so clearly doesn't see Squirrelflight in the same light. even though she's done a lot of the same amazing things that he praises Bramblestar for. ThunderClan hasn't depended on Bramblestar the past 9 books. He's done. Let him be done. But I was actually proud of Nightheart when, after hearing why Bramblestar was struggling, all his time in the Dark Forest, the trauma of it, losing his body so long, he actually encourages Bramblestar to step down. The opposite of what he set out to do. I'm very surprised and even more glad. I hope Bramblestar sees that Nightheart is right. It's time. And there's really no shame in it. They've even made new rules of changing leaders. Chapter 19, Frostpaw. She is haunted by what she saw and can't stop seeing all of her clanmates in a new, murdery light. She considers Duskfur, Mothwing, Owlnose. She eliminates them all, even laughing about the last, considering how badly he didn't want to be leader. But that still leaves all the rest of Riverclan. I'm of course leaning in a Splashtail direction, but I still can't place a motivation. Why would he do it? Why would any of them? All of this has made Riverclan an absolute mess. I know it's one of them, but I need more information to understand what's going on behind the curtains. Frostpaw and her mentor returned to camp after a horrible screaming led them there. When Frostpaw saw it was a ShadowClan cat in pain, my blood went cold. One of the Riverclan cats put a thorn in Scorchfur's food. I know they want ShadowClan gone, but oh my god, that is too much. It was a horrifying scene to read. Some of Riverclan cats openly saying how he deserved it. And I'm disgusted with them. What the hell? Thankfully, Frostpaw swoops in and helps him. She also starts to doubt whether keeping her vision a secret is the right choice, and considers telling Splashtail. Please don't do that. Even if he didn't make the killing blow, I just know he's involved with Reed Whisker's death, and maybe more. But she tells him anyways. Splashtail is amazed, and starts questioning her on the killer. If she saw their paws or chest fur, or anything to identify them. Trying to figure out if she recognized them as Splashtail, or legitimately trying to help. I can't tell. Splashtail is a bit all over the place about what he thinks. Not really helping me trust him. They decide that Frostpaw needs to speak with a cat who has had visions to help her. And Frostpaw lands on Whistlepaw of WindClan, and decides that if Whistlepaw agrees that the vision is real, then she'd tell all of Riverclan. Chapter 20. Nightheart is late for his final task. Luckily he makes it, and listens to Berryheart's usual list of ridiculous demands. Things are going well. Sunbeam starts to get excited to finally become Nightheart's mate and live together in ShadowClan forever. Yay. A little dramatic to be thinking about a cat you still don't know that well, who forced his way into your life. But I guess that's just what the Aarons are into. Right at the end of the task, Nightheart makes a mistake and fails. Wait, what? And then Tigerstar asked him to leave ShadowClan territory? Really? Just like that, that's it? He worked so hard for this and put everything into being a ShadowClan warrior. And just like that, it's over? When Nightheart goes to say goodbye, it becomes obvious that he screwed up on purpose. He changed his mind and failed so he could return to ThunderClan? What the actual hell? So let me get this straight. He runs off to ShadowClan and announces that he's there to join, and becomes Sunbeam's mate, after never saying a word of this to her beforehand. They spend all their time together, he gets Sunbeam to start having feelings for her, telling her how much he likes her, and how he wants a life together. Then he fails his final task on purpose, without discussing it with her, again, so he can rejoin ThunderClan. That is just so needlessly cruel. Sunbeam had no romantic feelings for Nightheart before he forced himself into her life. And now he just leaves? He has learned nothing. I can't believe it. I'm just so angry for her. Her dialogue pretty much sums up how I feel about it all. So you were just playing with me. You came to my clan and made me care about you, Nightheart. I didn't ask you to do that. Yeah, there it is. And even worse, Sunbeam starts to think that maybe her mother was right about everything. No. Damn it. Chapter 21. Nightheart's honestly shocking return to ThunderClan. To me, at least. He has a touching reunion with his family that left me feeling a little bit weird. Like, yeah, I'm glad they put their differences aside and are happy to be together again, but I will never forget Sparkpelt and Finchlight's horrible reactions to Nightheart changing his name. They addressed it a bit at least, and Sparkpelt promises to do better, saying that she sees Nightheart now. The actual exciting news here is that Bramblestar announces that he plans to step down as leader and retire, having Squirrelflight take over, pending approval from StarClan. If anything goes wrong there, I will be beyond furious. Give us the ThunderClan leader we deserve. Chapter 22. Frostpaw sneaks off to WindClan, several times thinking she hears a cat following. She was right to worry. When she made it there, she was attacked from behind. The cat seemed to carry a scent like WindClan's, but different. Frostpaw's last thoughts were of her mother's words, as her chest fur soaked with blood from a wound on her throat. Oh, no. I'm getting major Shadowsight vibes from when he was attacked by Ashfur and left for dead. I can only hope that she's found by Whistlepaw and is saved. As for her attacker, unless she got astronomically unlucky and was attacked by someone random, Splashtail was the only cat who knew where she'd be that night. And if he truly was involved with Reed Whisker's murder, killing Frostpaw here, before she shares her vision with anyone, would make a lot of sense. I suppose he also could have told his little group of troublemakers what she told him, and one of them could have gotten the idea to go after her. As we're nearing the end of the book, we'll probably have to wait a while to find out. Chapter 23. Sunbeam. She's hurting. Fair. But thankfully, she seems to be back on bad terms with Berryheart, at the very least. In worse news, Tigerstar's reaction to hearing that Riverclan cats are plotting against ShadowClan is to send more ShadowClan cats to stay there full time. What could possibly go wrong? Like Sunbeam says, what a mess. Chapter 24. Nightheart. Oh my god, I'm so frustrated. Sunbeam visits ThunderClan, wanting to join. So after everything Nightheart did, he gets everything he wants, and Sunbeam has to give up her life to be with him. This is unbelievably unfair. What an awful place to end a book. Thanks for watching. I cannot believe what the Errands have done to Sunbeam. Well, actually I can, because it's not really against their track record. But still, she just deserves so much better. And they pulled a Shadowsight with Frostpaw and left her at death's door while we wait for another book. That aside, there was some great things in this book. More development on the mysterious deaths of Riverclan, a very likely Squirrel Star, confirmation that Splashtail is sketchy as hell, but yeah, a lot of frustrating stuff too. Let me know what you thought of Shadow if you've given it a read, and I'll see you next Thursday.